Welcome back everyone to the Atomic Islands, and today we are going to do a little bit of exploring, which is something we haven't done in a while. You say, whatever happened to the sodium build? That is the reason why I want to do the exploring, because one of the things that I was wondering is, of course, what to make it out of. I was thinking of wool last time. You know how short I am on wool. But I was thinking maybe I need some other materials in addition to wool in order to complete this. Therefore, I thought that I will need to use diorite. I think would be a nice thing. Something that is nice and white, has a significant amount of white in it. So diorite would be one useful item to use there. And another substance that I was thinking of would be diorite and maybe a little bit of sand, and also perhaps birch. I thought that might be a good wood to use along with this to accompany it. A whitish. This entire region is one big ice. I need to find a warmer ocean. That's what I need, because right now every place I know of seems to be surrounded by ice, which is really hard to navigate through. I'm going to have to find a, should we say, a northwest passage or something like that in order to get through all of this mess. Is I want to get north and east a little bit, or I guess a northeast passage then. And the goal there is to get some islands that I know of that are up in that area that I've not yet visited, and see if any of them has any sort of birch forest or anything like that. In the meantime, it looks like I'm going to be going through a rather majestic iceberg scene. It looks like I finally found some trees up ahead. And that does look like the telltale sign of birch. So yeah, I think I found a birch source. And I also found some more, another sheep. Good. Good. I'll try to collect as much of that as possible also. But we got sheep all over the place. Now this looks like what element I'll make for this island. I guess I'll have to find that out at some point. Because of course, if there's a significant island in this place, then eventually I will do a build for it. Ah, here's an axe. First, I'm going to chop down some trees, and hopefully it'll be nice, at least for the tower bit, even if it's not going to go perfectly well for the main part of it, because we do want to have something for the tower, and of course I don't want to be using weird materials. I would like to see if I can make my tower out of wood this time if possible, or at least, well, or maybe wood and diorite. I can see how the diorite looks. 1.13 is probably going to be out pretty soon, and might even be out halfway through this episode, so, or at least by the time I finish that tower. So as a result, I might be getting close to the new texture pack also. I don't know, since those aren't going to be necessarily following on one another. But once it's out, it might be stable enough that they'll start thinking about implementing the new texture pack for it. Because right now, it'd be nice to be able to see this under the old pack. Starting to have second thoughts of doing the sodium build now, because it might be one that should wait for the new texture pack, since that's what's going to be there in the long run. Always nice to consider all these matters. Okay, some oak would also be good. But if I don't do the sodium build next, then which one should be next? I figured out what I want to do now. I think that we will save sodium for the new texture pack. And what I'm going to do here is to create my tree sanctuary. I know a forest is a perfect place to do such a thing. So I am going to replace a lot of this sand with trees, with of course dirt, and this dirt of course then will be planting new trees on there. So this will become a forest, partly natural, partly artificial. And I will use this then to represent oxygen. That of course being the trees producing oxygen. And then over here we have that little island over there where I'm going to create several fields, and that will be my farming area where I'll be growing various types of foods. You can see that there's already some sugar cane there and some grass, so I should have no trouble getting wheat. Over down here, when I was exploring, I found a pumpkin, so I could get some pumpkins. We've got chickens all over the place, so you can see that when I get this all in full swing, I'll even get some pumpkin pie, which is nice and good. So therefore, that'll become my farming area. And that will represent carbon. So carbon, because you have all those carbohydrates that you will have within the food that is growing in there. So therefore, that will make our area. So therefore, I need to get dirt so that I can replace all this sand. I'll have this sand then if I do need it for the sodium build. I'll have a nice source of sand for that. Right now I need a nice source of dirt. And the obvious source for this dirt is right here. I'm going to be flattening this out anyway to make it into the salt area. So therefore, if I'm going to do that, I might as well use the dirt here. I'm going to use this dirt in order to replace the sand over at the forest. And the sand over at the forest I could mix with some gravel that I have, turn it into concrete, and concrete can be another white substance here. So I have white concrete, and that would also be a nice addition here. Now, it does mean getting some bone meal, so that's going to be a little bit tricky there. But at least it tells me another thing that I need to take care of, and that is to find a skelly spawner, and another reason to delay the sodium build, because I'll need such a thing before I'm going to get the bone meal, before I'm going to be able to get all this stuff here and get the concrete, because I think white concrete, or maybe better white concrete powder, I think will be just perfect for my salt plane. I have returned, and now I can get rid of the sand, which is not going to fit in with my lush forest idea, and I will use this over at the Mushroom Island for my concrete that I hope to create there. Nice when two different ideas manage to dovetail with each other. Good, let's put this here. Good. Actually, let's start filling some of this in. That way the grass can start growing. And soon enough, I should have an island with maybe a little bit of sand at the edges, but otherwise, we'll be covered with a nice layer of dirt. That's quite a bit of progress. Of course, now this means that we have this area here where we have no trees or anything on there, so let's add a few trees, let them grow as I do the rest. I'm not quite done yet. There are still quite a few more areas of sand that I wish to fill in, but I am making good progress. I think we're making pretty good progress here, and with that all ready, I think it's time for us to start on our visitor center, which we will build right here. We will make it 7 by 7 on the exterior, 5 by 5 on the interior. So it'll be larger than the 5 by 5 exterior ones that we did over on the Mushroom Island and on the iceberg. Now let's get on with this build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that should be all the way across there. And so this will start our little tower. We'll have some stairs going down there, and I'm going to dig. As soon as I get a shovel, I'm going to dig. I'm going to dig down and create a basement. And that way we will have the foundation go down for a few levels. Let's try that. And let's dig this. It's a few days since the previous clip that I did, because I wanted to see if I could make this my first build under 1.13, and it actually is. 1.13 was officially released earlier today, so this is with the new version rather than with a snapshot or anything like that. So the first step here then is to dig down into the basement and get ourselves a nice solid foundation. The walls are complete, so that just means that we need to have a floor, and I think it is important, considering the theme of this particular island, that it be a substance that includes oxygen as one of its elements. Yes, I know that's a bit of a trick requirement, because just about all minerals include some level of oxygen, because most of these things have a heavy component of silicon dioxide. So yes, oxygen, pretty common in these things. Now we have that, we can use well, for this room of course it'll be the ceiling, but for the entrance level it of course would be the floor. Now the floor is going to be made out of oak. There we go there, but it's not going to be purely oak for the entire area. Of course, I want to have some diversity since I have two different types of wood in here. I could have some diversity, some birch and some oak. For the birch, I'll use that for the walls, and I am going to begin by going ouch. Well, maybe I should find a more efficient way of doing this. I'm going to use some birch planks, though, here for the main parts of the wall. Oops, not that. That's going to be a corner. And I want the corners to be on the over here. There you go. And then finally, the main reason I'm doing this before I finish all 4 corners is so I will stop going ouchie whenever I do that. Good. And then we'll have this 2 there, and that'll be the beginning of it. Now, of course, I'm not really going to have birch logs there. I'm going to have stripped birch for that. That way I have some texture variation on the wall. So otherwise it would be pretty boring. Okay, good. And I certainly don't need anything to increase how boring my build is. Alright, there we go. Now this is going to be the yeah, that's what I'll do. I'll put a window right there, because this is where the map is going to be, so no window at that location. And I'm going to need to chop down a lot more birch. Now this wall will have the window on this side. There we go. And this one is going to have a large window that can have a good look at the trees. Good. And that will make our system right there. Alright, that is the first floor. Now you'll notice that these are 4 high instead of the... Oops, not that one. This is 4 high instead of the 3 high that we did at the smaller ones, because the tower looks a little bit too short if you... There we go. If you do it only 3 high, so therefore I decided, alright, let's make it 2 high. Now here I am going to place some stairs. We'll have some stairs going up instead of the... There you go. There you go. Instead of the ladder that we have going into the basement. The basement is an employees only area, so therefore no ladders there. Okay, there we go. And we'll go up onto the 2nd floor. Now for the 2nd floor, we'll start out by placing these here. So I at least have them as markers, so I will have them going up a little bit more as we go along. And of course we will fill that in. And what we're going to have here is, of course, another set of stairs, but that set of stairs is going to go down on this side. But I would like to keep the windows at the same place, so therefore that is what I'm going to do there. But I may change my mind on that eventually, but we'll see. 1, 2, 3. 3. And then one final one. And just add the rest of the walls with their appropriate apertures. And then we will be done with this side. Of course, there's going to be a stairway up here, so I am once again leaving that like that. Let's see, if I do that, what do I get? Well, I want to see. Probably I should have stripped the logs first to make that a little bit easier. Fortunately, it's not too long of a fall, so if I get a little bit hurt, it won't be too bad. But we'll do that for now so I could get over here. Take care of this. Can I reach that? Of course not. Well, I'll have to go back with some scaffolding to take care of that. I'm sure I'll remember it when I inspect the place afterwards. Okay, good. Now that that's done, we can get rid of this and make our window. And here we have our second floor. So on the top floor, we of course need to add those little crenellations that we've added to all the others. Let's start with this continuing up on each of the corners. And then, as usual, I'm running out of birch. We'll add these here. I'll add them to these. I'll need another log in order to take care of the rest. And in between them, let's see. Looks like, am I going to have to come in through this the other way? I'd like for it to be like this. Yeah, like that. Alright, good. And let's do this all around. Not a great work of art, but it'll do for the moment, though we will add some shutters there also. Good. I'll have to get up in order to do those. I think the shutters will add a nice touch to them. I know they're trapdoors, but they will do as shutters, and I'll do the same thing over here. And all around. Now, for the door, I will, well, first off, place the door. Good. And then alright. Better. Alright, and I will put the shutters on top of the door in that case. And that way it'll work as an awning. And that'll be 01. Let's try it the other way. I hope I can get it the other way. I'd like it to be a little bit lower. 1, 2, 3, and there we go. So most of them are closed, but that one will be open, so that will act as our awning. And how about a couple of fences to look like it's holding up the awning, and that'll help to liven it up a little bit. And perhaps a couple of sconces on there to make things a little bit more lit up. Let's add a little bit of a porch here, or I should say steps upward, not quite a porch. And then I also added a support here, that way we can, oops, there you go. There you go for that. And then, well, maybe that's not a good place to put a torch. How about, I suppose we could put them on the ends here. Put one there, put one there. Just put them on the ends. We'll see how that that lights things up. And of course, if we're going to say we're going to put on some torches, then I should actually add the torches. Now, I probably want to put some additional all across the island, but I could oh well. Strange, I used an axe to save the life of the squid. There you go. And to put one there, and finally we can place one over here. And let's see how it looks after that. I'll probably have to refine the look of these things over time. But well, alright, I do have one extra trap door, and I think putting it there just for pure decoration will help to, yeah, I think that does it. Good. Alright. Not bad. Now, of course, I need a sign. Just add a sign, and that would be element 8 O O, and that would be oxygen, of course, and because they produce all that wonderful oxygen with those trees, and then 15.999, and we are done with this build. But of course, that's not the main build. That is just the visitor center for this tree, all these trees on this island, which I transformed from being mostly sand into a nice little forest. And that's it for today's episode, and when we return next time, we will head across to that island where we are going to do some farming. So probably getting a little bit more dirt there and all that stuff, because our next element is going to be carbon when we return to the Atomic Islands.